Hi everyone, welcome to Gins Adrift. This is the premiere video on the channel, and I just wanted to welcome you. So how did I get here? What am I doing? And probably I have no clue either. But in any case, the main purpose of this whole thing is to learn. So as of now, I do own a boat, and I don't know much about boat ownership. So I want to learn from you, and I've watched countless videos on fishing, boating, anything you could possibly name. And I also want to teach. So through my trials and errors, I want you to learn what to do and more importantly, what not to do. I'm going to be trying to upload some videos as often as I can, as long as I have the content for it. Some upcoming videos I have going on are going to be boat shows. So within the next couple of weeks, I'll be going to the New Jersey, or what is it called? It's called the New Jersey Boat Sale and Expo. And then in another couple of weeks after that, I'll be going to the Atlantic City Boat Show. So that should be a lot of fun. But some of the other videos, I'm going to go through the whole process of how I bought the boat, through the concept of owning a boat, through the whole process of looking, buying, financing, insurance, and all that. I'm going to do some, once I acquire the boat, actually, it's sitting in storage for the winter. But once I get it, I'll do a video of that and do a walk around on the boat. And if I drive it up to where I'm going to keep it in the slip, I'll take video of that. Um, There'll be some choosing of marinas. So places I'm considering as I'm in Monmouth County, New Jersey, I'll be looking at Red Bank, Keyport, and Rumson. I want to do a video also on fishing, crabbing, and clamming. And hopefully, if I actually catch anything, I'll try to cook some of that as well. And I do have a 16-year-old who is friends. So if we do any tubing and things like that, I'll be sure to do some videos of that. And then cruising. So we're not far from Manhattan. And I think it would be a really fun thing to cruise around Manhattan. So, a little background. So, I'm an old guy living in New Jersey. I've lived here pretty much all my life, with the exception of college and a couple of work assignments that were long term. But I moved right back to New Jersey because this is where I'm from and this is a great place to be. So, I grew up at the Jersey Shore, probably 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes from Seaside Heights, Point Pleasant, and all those areas, and just grew up with that atmosphere, going to the boardwalk, going to the beach, going on rides, eating all the boardwalk food. Love seafood. I love water activities. And the one thing I do hate about the whole thing is sand. So I'm not a political person, at least not in public. But if there was a movement to pave all the beaches and get rid of all the sand, I'm on board. So let me know in the comments if you're up for that. But anyway, as a lover of shore activities, I love fishing. I love jet skiing, which I've done several times on vacation, and then boating. So when I was 13 years old, I bought my first boat. It was a probably 11-foot sailboat, and my father used to drop me off at a lake in Lakewood, New Jersey, and I would go in the water, and he would come back a few hours later and pick me up. So we shoved this 11-foot boat in the back seat, not the back seat, but the back of a station wagon, 1972 Kingswood Chevy, and we would have the boat hanging out of the back. The sail was hanging out of the back, and it was quite the spectacle driving down the road. But anyway, I really loved it. I used to bring friends on the boat. Um, I would teach them to sail by jumping off and letting them fend for themselves. So that was pretty much appreciated by everybody. With the boat, in addition to Lake Harasaljo, I also took the boat on vacation with me once to Bar Harbor, Maine. We had a hotel right on Frenchman's Bay, and I went out with my sister. So I'm an 11-foot boat going on this huge bay and pretty much no idea what I was doing there either. So we're in the middle of the bay and the swells were huge. When we're at the bottom of the swell, all you could see is water. And then I'm thinking this probably wasn't a great idea. But here we are today. We made it through, and Yeah. Where am I in the whole process of boat ownership? As I mentioned before, I did buy a boat and I closed on it a couple of weeks ago. So I bought a Key West 239 FS, and the whole process was great. So it all started out a few years ago when I went fishing with a friend who has boats and a jet ski and all that fun stuff. So I went with my son and we're out on Barnegat Bay, and he's letting my son drive. I'm driving the boat, and he said, "Why don't you guys get your boater safety certificates and you could drive the boat and do whatever you want?" So immediately when I got home, I signed up for the course, took the test and passed, and then I had my boater safety certificate. After I did that, it was like I was kind of overwhelmed with the whole thing. So I think it was in the middle of the night. I asked my wife if it would be okay to get well, I told her I have good news and I have bad news. The good news was I didn't want a boat. The bad news, at least from her perspective, is I wanted to get a Waverunner. So she pretty much lost it. I think she scared the dog, even though it was like, 3 in the morning. And I eventually told her, it was like going to be fun. It would be good for my son and me to share some time together. After I got the Waverunner, which didn't take very long, I went on Facebook, joined a whole bunch of sites and groups that had to do with wave runners, wave runners in New Jersey, wave runners at the Jersey Shore, whatever you could imagine. And it was really helpful because I was able to go out with people who are very experienced. They had a lead person leading the group, and then they had someone at the tail end to make sure that no one fell behind and no one had any issues. So that was really great. And the best trip I did with them was probably up and down the East River of Manhattan that started from the Statue of Liberty. So you're seeing the whole skyline from a different perspective that most people never get to see. So I really enjoyed that. But most of the time, I went in Sandy Hook Bay, and we launched from Leonardo State Marina, which is right next to Earl Weapons Base. And they have a huge pier that extends probably half a mile out to the bay. And I would go out with my son, and sometimes the water was great and you could go full throttle. Other times we could only go maybe 20, 25 miles an hour just because the bay was pretty rough. And we would also venture out to go on the Navesink River. And the fun thing about the river was it's never as rough as the bay, so you could pretty much go full throttle. And my Wave Runner was able to go probably 50 to 55 miles an hour. So that was really a good time. So though the only bad thing about that, it was really only fun for one person. I'm old and I let my son drive with me on the back, and I totally screwed up my knees. And after that, I wouldn't go again. And he's 16, he's almost 6 feet tall, and sitting in the back was not fun for him either. So ultimately, we really didn't do that a whole lot. He would always be in the back if we did go together, but I would let him go out a little bit as long as I could see him if the bay wasn't too crowded. But I really got the idea of boating because on Labor Day weekend, my son drove my wife down the Navesink and we met at Barr's Landing in the Highlands. And I drove the car there. And then after lunch, no one wanted to ride back with me. And that kind of sucked because it was a fun afternoon. We had a great meal, but then it was just saying goodbye to everybody. So that night I got home and it was like big light bulb went on my head over my head. And I asked my wife if it would be okay if we sold the Wave Runner and got a boat. And she flipped. She just, I could see all the life just get sucked right out of her. She's saying, "You said you never wanted a boat," which isn't true. At the time when I brought up the Wave Runner a couple of years ago, I was overwhelmed and I didn't think I could handle having a boat. But after thinking about it and how the family could do group activities in the boat, I just thought it was a better option for the family. So we do have a son who's 19 and has autism. And throughout the ownership of the Wave Runner, we tried to think of ways that we could get him on, which probably wouldn't have been the issue. The issue would have been if he fell off. There was absolutely no way we could get him back on the back of the Wave Runner. So I threw out the card and she yelled at me for bringing that up. But after thinking about it for a while, she kind of thought it wasn't a bad idea, and I got the go ahead, but we did compromise a little bit. This was in September of 2023, and we agreed that I would wait until January 2024 until I started looking. So, compromise, we all win. And starting January 1st, 2024, I really started making calls about boats that I saw online and wherever. That'll be a different video when I go into depth about that, but ultimately, here we are. So that's it for my first video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit like and subscribe, and if you have any comments, I would appreciate that as well. So let me know what you would like to see from someone who has no idea what they're doing. Bye bye.